3 years ago, he launched the company, did very little revenue his first year, 2014, actually zero. 2015 did 155 grand. 2016 grew to 550 grand in sales. He's now doing last month 80 grand in monthly recurring revenue. Each customer, which there's 20 of them, pays about 4 grand. Again, he's helping these customers like Zendesk more effectively do account-based marketing. Super healthy unit economics, just did his pre-Series A, raising $2 million on a $10 million post-money valuation.
This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
Many of you listening right now don't have time to listen to every B2B SaaS CEO that I've interviewed. If you want to get access to the database I've created with year-over-year growth rates, customer counts, margins, and many, many other data metrics and data points, you can go to getlatka.com. Here's the thing, though. That database, I keep it to myself. It's so freaking valuable. And to preserve the quality of the data and make sure that the people that have access to it have a true advantage, I'm only letting 10 companies on each month. So we're full this month, but you can go to getlatka.com to get on the waiting list for next month. And look, there's big people on the waiting list. I mean, the biggest VCs you've ever heard of. You've probably heard of them. They're big, private equity, billions and billions under management. So it's an impressive waiting list. Go get on now at getlatka.com. This is episode 773. Coming up tomorrow morning, I talked to Creative Live's Chase Jarvis. And I said, if LinkedIn offered you $200 million, would you sell Creative Live? His answer will surprise you. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Venkat Nagaswamy. He is the CEO of Mariana IQ. He brings a long and diverse background in high technology to bear on applying artificial intelligence and deep learning to help marketers make account-based marketing an at-scale reality. Big Cat, as he was nicknamed by his friends and colleagues, has led his teams in creating analytics, technology, and business development solutions at McKinsey, Juniper Networks, and GE Plastics, among others. He's worked with an enterprise and digital consumer hardware, SaaS, corporate and business unit strategy, market entry strategy, product development, along with many, many other spaces. He's a proud graduate of the University of Michigan and the Georgia Institute of Technology. He also holds an MBA and a master's in aerospace engineering. Venkat, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that was a mouthful, but thanks for joining. Tell us what Mariana IQ does and how you make revenue.
Okay, so, this is the problem that we're looking to fill is the problem that I faced when I was at Juniper trying to implement ABM, or account-based marketing. The key problems that people have when trying to implement account-based marketing is how do you figure out which accounts to go after? How do you figure out who within the account to go after? And how do we engage them? How do we capture them through multiple channels? And that is the problem that we're looking to solve. How do you figure out which accounts to go after? Let's find the specific people within those accounts and surround those individuals on various channels like Facebook, Twitter, Google AdWords, and so on. And that's what the software does. People buy a subscription, a monthly subscription to the software, which allows you to run campaigns targeting the same set of individuals on all of these different platforms.
So it's a SaaS business model.
It's a SaaS business model.
Okay, and what do people pay on average per month?
So right now, we're doing about $4,000 a month on an average per customer.
Got it. And then give me more of the backstory here. So what year did you launch the company in?
Yep. So I started this company, 3 years ago, along with two of my co-founders. Prior to that, I used to run enterprise marketing for Juniper Networks, and so I come at this as a user of the technology, not just from the technology side. And back in the day, I implemented what was then the latest greatest in marketing analytics, which was Lattice Engines, and I felt that there was still a whole bunch of tools that marketers needed to start this to be successful, right? And my co-founder also felt the same thing, having done product marketing and product management, and that's how the team came together.
So that was 2014, about 3 years ago when you launched. Do you remember what your first year revenue was?
The first year revenue was zero. We started making our first revenues in late 2015. We did for the year of 2015, we did 155,000. 2016, we did about 550,000. and hopefully we'll do 4 times that this year. We'll see.
Are you on track to do 2 million this year?
Yep, we're on track, by touch wood, and we should be able to hit that.
And what is, so I'm trying to do the math in my head, but save me the time. So what was monthly recurring revenue last month?
So last month it was 78, 80, about essentially tracking close to $1 million in ARR.
Yep. So you did about 80 grand. You did about 80 grand last month, multiplied by 12 gets you about $1 million run rate.
Yep, that's basically it.
Got it. So with a $4,000 ARPU and 80 grand in MRR, you have what, about 20 customers?
Yep.
Okay.
It's actually slightly more than that, but yes.
Okay, good. So we just got kind of your revenue numbers. That's really, really helpful. You took us up. You have 20 customers. Tell us a story about one of these customers, like how they're actually using you, a real name.
Yeah, so Zendesk is one of our foremost customers. As you know, Zendesk is a big player in SaaS world, and they're well known as a good B2B marketer, especially inbound marketing. They came to us saying, hey, we have we're doing great in inbound marketing, but we need to target larger companies and go after a list of accounts which are larger than what we normally do. And so they gave us a whole bunch of that historical data. We used our AI platform to find more companies like the ones that they were successful with, and found more people within those companies that we found that they were successful with. And we created this audience for them on Facebook. And they've been running campaigns on that for the past 10 months or so, and they've had great success, right? To put this in context, these guys are people who spend something like $50 a click to all the way up to $100 a click on Google AdWords for something like help desk software, and they were able to increase their lead volume like 4 times based on Mariana, while holding the cost, while improving their success rate. Now, they didn't tell us how much their success rate improved by, because we would then increase the prices.
Hell yeah, you would.
But they said it improved, increased their quality. So we got better quality, 4 times the volume, while keeping the cost the same.
That's great.
All of this because of this AI that underlies what we do.
And have you bootstrapped this company, or have you raised capital?
We did raise capital from first. We did a seed round in 2014. Blumberg Capital led the round, and we also had prominent angel investors like Gokul and Rajaram.
Did you say Blumberg Capital or Bloomberg, like Michael Bloomberg?
It's Blumberg. It's BLUM.
Who's behind that?
So David Blumberg is the main guy. Bruce Taragin is the guy on my board. He's my man.
Got it.
These guys were behind. I mean, they've been around for 30, 40 years. They were the original investors behind RSA, Hootsuite, Nutanix. These are some of the names that you might know.
And was that was that like a convertible note or a priced equity round?
It was a convertible note round. 2 million note was what we issued back in 2014.
What was the cap?
The cap was 6.
Okay, 6. So 2 million raised, $6 million cap, and what, 8% interest, 25%?
20% discount, and I think 6% interest.
So fairly standard. And then, and you said that was 2 million raised, and it sounds like you've done a round after that as well.
Yeah, so we did another round in mid last year, about a year ago. Xfinity Ventures from India, which is made by leaders from Infosys and Wipro. Those guys led the round. It was a priced round, and we converted everything at essentially 10 million post.
Okay, got it. And how much did you raise?
We raised 2 million.
Okay, so you raised a total of $4 million. That second series, that Series A priced round, you raised $2 million at an $8 million pre, $10 million post.
That's correct.
Got it. Very good. And so that's actually, I mean, Venkat, that's an impressive post-money valuation for a sub $1 million run rate. I mean, you basically got a 10x valuation. That's pretty healthy. Do you ever get nervous about your ability? Like, for example, if Salesforce came to you, Mark Benioff, and pulled out a checkbook and wrote you a check today for $3 million, that'd probably make you some good money. You'd be tempted to maybe take that, but you can't because of what you've raised, right? You have to sell for way more than $10 million. Do you ever worry about growing into your valuation?
Not necessarily. So in terms of, if you look at the valuation of what we raised, 10 million post at 4 million raised, relatively speaking, it's not that big of a valuation jump based on where we are or even where we were, right? So there's a lot of, if you, by the way, the way we priced it was based on what we were seeing in the marketplace at that time. And at that time, a lot of people in our range would go for, would have converted it or would have done something like a 12 million or 14 million post-money valuation as opposed to 10. So we believe that we are actually, relative to what we would have gotten at that time, we're actually on the lower side. So I don't feel too worried about the valuation creep, as people call it. Had we done it at 15 or 14, then that would worry me, especially when we go in for the Series A. The Series A investors would be more worried. But, the preliminary feelers that we've put out for Series A, which we are not ready for yet, we'll be ready for it later this year. But when the preliminary feelers that we put out, the people
real quick, Venkat. So that 2 million on a 10 million post, that was like a pre-Series A priced round.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So the actual Series A we do only later this year, and and what people are telling us, they're like, okay, your valuation is okay. It's not too low. It's not too big. It seems to be around what people are seeing. So I'm not too worried about it. But then ask me in 6 months, and I'll tell you what it is.
Yep, that makes good sense. Take me into, first off, it's impressive. It's rare that I see a company that has your run rate with, this isn't a bad thing, so little customers. In other words, usually what I see in SaaS is high volume, low ARPU. You have low volume, high ARPU, which I'm curious, how did you get those first 20 customers to pay so much when you had such little kind of background and historical data?
Yeah, so we were under stealth still till something like May of last year.
Okay.
So
May of 2016.
May of 2016, yep. So for the first year that we were getting revenues from people, they were all beta customers based on the contacts that we had and the investors had and so on. But since then, we've attracted a lot of attention simply because of inbound marketing that we've been doing, all the press coverage and other coverage that we've been able to get in various places. That's attracted a lot of people.
No, but Venkat, tell me about the really weird thing you did that if you admitted you did it, people would go, that's genius. Why does nobody else think of that? So what's something that's not conventional, not inbound marketing, something that's really not conventional that you did that landed customers?
So I took off. I showered in the. If you go to there's a video of me in
showering.
YouTube, in
Stop.
The shower. So you asked me for a weird thing.
Okay, give it to me. Give it to me.
In the shower, I think singing either Total Eclipse of the Heart or Bon Jovi. I don't know which one I was singing. And we took that video, and then my wife and kid are also there in the video, not in the shower but elsewhere. And that video, we put it out on Twitter, and that got like 1 million hits or something, or views or something like that. So anyway, you asked me for a weird thing, and that was a weird thing that
Did you land a customer from that? Can you track one of your new customers back to that?
So I don't know if there were customers, but I will tell you something like 60% of the meetings that I've had, or at least when that was running, that people would say, this is the first time I'm seeing some guy who actually sang Bon Jovi or whatever and filmed it and by the way, I should say, I am the worst singer on the planet.
I was just going to ask you to sing so we could get a sense of if you were like a rock star or not.
It is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. You don't want to hear me sing as often. Even my mom wouldn't say I sing well.
That's funny. Okay, last few questions here before we wrap up. Gross margin. Are you at a typical SaaS range, 85, 86%?
Yep, 80 to 90. Yep.
Okay, so you don't have any weird kind of above the line expenses or costs?
Nope.
Okay.
It's the usual SaaS stuff, yeah.
Gross customer churn per month.
So per month, we're doing trifle high right now. We're about 3%.
Okay, that's not so bad. And what if you did that in terms of revenue churn?
So some of these people that we're churning are actually people that we signed at really low numbers. And some of it is by design. So it's 3% on a company basis, but on a revenue basis, it's more like it's about half, I would say, of that. I don't remember the exact number, but it's about half of that.
Got it. And that's because you're upselling current customers and you're getting rid of lower ARPU older customers. Okay.
Yeah.
What about CAC? What are you spending to acquire a new customer? Do it fully weighted. So include your content people, take their salaries, divide it into new customers per month, etc.
So the exact numbers, we just did the math last week. It's like $22,000 per customer.
And what do you assume lifetime value of a customer is?
So we are assuming right now that they would. We assume, at least for a modeling looking ahead, we assume 20% per churn per year is the total number. We're doing slightly higher than that right now. So that essentially translates to 4 or 5 years of
250 grand lifetime value.
Exactly.
Yep. Very cool. Okay. Now, talk to me about payback period real quick. Now, obviously, if you spend 22 grand and you're making 4 grand per month, your payback period is about 5 months. Do you like that? Would you spend more? Would you spend less?
So if you look at the projections that we've done, we're actually going to start spending a lot more on sales and marketing and actually increase the customer acquisition cost to increase the volume, right? So until until like February, I was the only sales guy in the company. We've since added a salesperson. We're going to add 2 more salespeople. So any salespeople listening to the call me. And so we'll be increasing our sales and marketing expense, almost doubling it over the next 6 months to a year, so that we can increase the scale, right? To your point, we have fewer customers but bigger dollar value.
Makes
we want
sense.
to increase that size.
What are you spending, like last month, what did you spend on just paid marketing?
So we spent, $2K on just Mariana, just doing the ads for ourselves. Beyond that, we didn't do any other paid stuff.
Okay, and what's total team size today?
Team size is 12.
Okay, Top Tribe, I have to tell you, many people go, Nathan, you came out of nowhere, your website's growing so fast, how'd you do it? The answer is simple. So I use HostGator, I don't know if you guys know that, but I use HostGator, and the reason I do, they have like about 4,500 free templates I can use because I don't code. They've got a great e-commerce plugin, and guys, I bug the heck out of their support. They've got 24/7 support, which I love. So what I've done is I've worked with them. You guys know I make great deals. If you go to hostgator.com/Nathan, you can sign up, get your own domain for 30% off and a 45-day money-back guarantee. Okay, again, I make great deals for you guys. Go to hostgator.com/Nathan to grab that now.
That's great. Venkat, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Good to great.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
I do look at Benioff and Zuckerberg. Those are 2 people that I follow a lot.
Number 3, besides your own, is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
I love Calendly, which is a scheduling tool. Which when you said scheduling, it reminded me of that. The second app that I use, I take the train. So the apps that I really love are Twitter and Feedly because they keep me connected to what's going on.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6.
And what's your situation? Married, single, do you have kids?
I'm married with 1 kid, 3 years old.
Oh, wow. And how old are you?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh, come on.
I'm 47.
I was going to say, you can sing in the shower, but you can't tell me how old you are? Okay, so 47. Last question. Take us back 27 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Being diligent and hardworking counts for a lot more than being smart and clever.
Ooh, I love that. Being diligent is way more important than being smart and clever. There you guys have it from Venkat, again, founder of Mariana HQ or IQ. Back about 3 years ago, he launched the company, did very little revenue his first year, 2014, actually zero. 2015 did 155 grand. 2016 grew to 550 grand in sales. He's now doing last month 80 grand in monthly recurring revenue. Each customer, which there's 20 of them, pays about 4 grand. Again, he's helping these customers like Zendesk more effectively do account-based marketing. Super healthy unit economics, just at his pre-Series A, raising $2 million on a $10 million post-money valuation. Venkat, I'm rooting for you, man. Good luck, and thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks a lot, Nathan. Good luck to you guys.
If you enjoyed today's episode with Venkat, go back and listen to yesterday's episode with Jeremy Haynes. Jeremy is Grant Cardone's secret weapon. Many big influencers have spent a lot of money on Jeremy as they look to get more followers on social media.